My sister's feigned crises overshadowed my milestones. My sister's fabricated mental health episodes disrupted every significant moment in my life, leading me to exclude my family from my wedding and reveal their deception. On what should have been the most joyous day of my life, I made the difficult choice to keep my parents and sister away. Some call me heartless, others believe I was courageous. After years of having my achievements eclipsed, I wanted one day to be truly mine. Now, I'm left questioning whether I crossed a line or finally stood up for myself. I, a 23-year-old, married my partner, Leander, aged 33 last month. I chose not to invite my parents or my younger sister, Ophelia, 28, to the ceremony. Half of my family now labels me as selfish and cruel. I need perspective on whether I made the right call or went too far. Let me share why I made this decision. When I was 15, Ophelia received a diagnosis of anxiety and depression, deemed manageable with therapy and medication, nothing severe or incapacitating. Yet, from that moment, our household revolved around her mental health. By 17, I began noticing something off. I'd spent months preparing for an audition to play Juliet in the school production of Romeo and Juliet. My parents promised to drive me to the audition and wait. On the morning of the event, Ophelia claimed she was having a panic attack and needed urgent hospital care. My parents rushed her to the ER, leaving me stranded. I missed the audition. That evening, my grandmother called to check on Ophelia and mentioned seeing her at the mall that day, laughing with friends and carrying shopping bags. When I confronted my parents, they brushed it off, saying Ophelia must have recovered after the hospital visit. The audition, however, was long over. For my 20th birthday, my grandparents flew in from across the country. We planned a grand celebration at a fancy restaurant, complete with a custom cake featuring my photo. 2 hours before the event, Ophelia claimed severe anxiety over an upcoming exam and demanded immediate medical attention. My parents took her to urgent care, taking the car with my cake. The party went on, thanks to my grandparents' efforts, but I spent most of it worrying about Ophelia. When my parents returned at midnight, I learned she'd received a mild anxiety medication and was discharged after 20 minutes. They admitted to eating my custom cake in the hospital waiting room because Ophelia was hungry. This pattern continued through high school. In my senior year, I led the debate team to the state championships. On the day of the competition, Ophelia had another mental health crisis, requiring constant supervision, according to my parents. They stayed home with her instead of attending my event. We won first place, but no family was there to witness it. When I got accepted into a reputable university with a partial scholarship, my parents said they couldn't cover the remaining costs, as they were saving for Ophelia's future treatments. I worked 2 jobs through college to fund my accounting degree, while Ophelia dropped out of community college twice, citing overwhelming stress. For my college graduation, I specifically asked my parents to attend, even buying their plane tickets and reserving seats. The night before, Ophelia called them in tears, claiming a social media post about graduations triggered a breakdown. My parents flew back to be with her. I walked the stage alone, with my roommate's family cheering from the stands. After graduating, I landed a job at a respected accounting firm in a new city. I worked diligently, earning a promotion to senior accountant within 4 years. When I shared the news with my mother, she congratulated me briefly before talking for 25 minutes about Ophelia's latest therapy progress. Around this time, I met Leander at a professional conference. He worked at another accounting firm, and we started dating. His family welcomed me warmly. His mother remembered my birthday unprompted, his father engaged with my career updates, and his sister sent me a card for another promotion. They celebrated my successes without redirecting the focus. After 3 years, Leander proposed. We planned a small wedding with only close family and friends. As we finalized the guest list, I began having panic attacks at the thought of inviting my parents and Ophelia. I imagined Ophelia having a crisis during the ceremony, or my parents leaving early to tend to her. Leander suggested we list all the major events Ophelia had disrupted. The list was shockingly long. My high school graduation, college graduation, birthdays, promotion dinners, and even a planned weekend visit with my parents. Every milestone in my adult life was tainted by Ophelia's crises. I told Leander, I wanted one drama-free day for us. We decided not to invite my parents or Ophelia. I informed a few aunts and uncles, asking them to keep the wedding date and location confidential. The wedding was perfect. Leander's father walked me down the aisle, and his mother helped with my dress and hair. Our 50 guests celebrated without interruptions, no early exits, no emergencies. For once, I was the focus of my own event. 3 days later, my cousin posted wedding photos online. My parents saw them and bombarded me with 15 voicemails and numerous texts. My mother called me ungrateful and selfish. My father said I'd humiliated them in front of extended family. They insisted they were devoted parents who sacrificed everything for their daughters, especially Ophelia, who needed extra care. Ophelia sent a long message, accusing me of destroying the family and triggering a severe anxiety attack that landed her in the hospital. She called me cruel for excluding her, especially since her mental health had improved. Several aunts and uncles lectured me about family loyalty, arguing that Ophelia's mental illness wasn't her fault and that I should be more understanding. They claimed my parents did their best to support both of us. A few cousins cut contact, but others supported me. My grandmother said she understood my decision, but wished things had been different. One uncle admitted he'd noticed the pattern and felt it was unfair to me. Now I'm questioning myself. Perhaps I should have given them another chance. Maybe Ophelia was genuinely ill, and I'm being too harsh. My parents made sacrifices for her, and mental illness is a real condition. But I can't forget how peaceful my wedding was, free from worrying about someone else's crisis. I focused entirely on marrying Leander, surrounded by love and support. My parents still aren't speaking to me, and Ophelia occasionally texts, asking when I'll apologize. The family remains divided, with some defending me and others believing I went too far. I need impartial opinions from people outside my family. Was excluding them from my wedding wrong? Should I have handled it differently? Am I being cruel to Ophelia and my parents? Or was this the best choice for my mental health and marriage? Update 1. Thank you to everyone who responded to my original post. Your support helped me see I wasn't alone in recognizing my family's behavior. Some mentioned medical trauma, which gave me a new lens on my childhood. A lot has happened since my last update. My parents intensified their efforts to make me apologize. My mother called Leander's employer, claiming he'd stolen their daughter and turned her against them, asking about company policies on family disputes. The employer clarified that personal matters weren't their concern. My father began calling Leander, leaving messages about my difficult nature and how I exaggerated everything to play the victim. He urged Leander to convince me to reconcile. The most disturbing incident was when my mother called Leander's mother, a retired social worker, sobbing about losing her daughter. She claimed I'd cut them off without explanation. Leander's mother asked about specific events, my graduations, birthdays, and my mother grew defensive, saying Ophelia's mental health required sacrifices from everyone and that I was overreacting to a few missed moments. Leander's mother countered that missing every major milestone was significant. My mother accused Leander's family of turning me against them and hung up. Then my cousin Jessica, 26, who lives near my parents, called with surprising news. She'd been reflecting on my wedding and recalled something odd from our teenage years. She said Ophelia's emergencies always seemed suspiciously timed, but didn't speak up because mental illness is unpredictable. Jessica shared a memory from when I was 17, the night of my senior prom. I'd saved up for a dress and professional hairstyling, thrilled to attend with my crush. 2 hours before, Ophelia claimed a severe panic attack, saying she couldn't breathe and felt like she was dying. My parents rushed her to the ER, promising to return for photos. They didn't. I went to prom with my date's family. Jessica, working at a movie theater that night, saw Ophelia with her boyfriend, eating popcorn and seeming fine. At the same time, I was supposed to be taking photos. Jessica assumed Ophelia had recovered quickly and had permission to go out, so she never mentioned it to avoid family conflict. After my wedding, she began questioning how often Ophelia's miraculous recoveries aligned with my milestones. This revelation hit hard. I'd always assumed Ophelia's attacks were real, despite their timing. Learning she was out enjoying herself during my prom made me reevaluate everything. I checked Ophelia's social media history. On my college graduation day, when she was supposedly triggered by graduation posts, she shared photos from a music festival, posted during the time my parents were rushing to her. For my 20th birthday, when she was too anxious to be alone, she checked into a restaurant with friends 2 hours later. I found at least 6 instances where her social media activity, showing her happy and socializing, contradicted her reported crises. I shared the screenshots with Leander, who asked if I thought Ophelia was faking her issues to sabotage my moments. I didn't want to believe my sister could be so malicious, but the evidence was undeniable. My parents either fell for her lies or enabled them. I confronted Ophelia over the phone, asking why she was at a festival during my graduation crisis. She went silent, then cried, accusing me of attacking her while she was struggling. She claimed her social media didn't tell the full story and that she forced herself to go out despite panic attacks. When I mentioned the prom night movie theater incident, her story unraveled. She admitted to exaggerating symptoms when she felt I was getting too much attention, claiming it was unfair because I excelled effortlessly while she struggled. I asked if she realized her fake crises caused me to miss irreplaceable moments. She insisted her mental health needs outweighed my events and accused me of being a bad sister for not supporting her. She didn't apologize, instead framing me as the villain for exposing her lies. I haven't spoken to my parents since learning the truth. Part of me wants to show them the evidence, but I suspect they already knew and chose to prioritize Ophelia. Leander advises focusing on our life together, noting that even if they admitted fault, it wouldn't undo my missed moments. I've stepped back from social media and family messages. Some relatives still push for reconciliation, citing family forgiveness, but I'm not sure it's possible without accountability. Leander and I are house hunting in a new city after his promotion. Starting fresh, away from family drama, feels liberating. Update 2: I didn't plan another update, but a significant development warrants sharing. Last month, Leander and I moved to Denver for his promotion, settling into a small house. I was feeling better about the wedding situation. Then my Aunt Carol, 54, my mother's sister, contacted me. Previously critical, calling me stubborn and selfish post-wedding, her tone was different. She said she had vital information about Ophelia and my parents and asked to meet for coffee in Denver, where she was traveling for work. Wary but curious, I agreed. At the coffee shop, Carol seemed nervous, clutching her phone. She explained that while clearing out her late mother's house, she found a shoebox of old letters and cards. Among them were letters my mother wrote to my grandmother, starting when Ophelia was diagnosed with anxiety. One, from when I was 14, detailed Ophelia's jealousy over my academic and social success, noting her panic attacks often coincided with my achievements. The therapist suggested family counseling for sibling rivalry, but my parents deemed it too costly and time-consuming. Instead, they gave Ophelia extra attention during her episodes, knowing they were triggered by my successes. Another letter, from my senior year, mentioned Ophelia's prom night, panic attack, and quick recovery to go to a movie. Yet my mother chose not to return for my photos to avoid making Ophelia feel left out. Letters covered my college graduation, promotions, and engagement, admitting Ophelia's suspicious timing, but prioritizing her emotional needs. The final letter, written 4 weeks before my wedding, revealed Ophelia's plan to stage a panic attack at the ceremony to demand attention. My mother was prepared to leave early if needed, valuing Ophelia's mental health over my wedding. Carol, after reading the letters, realized my parents enabled Ophelia's manipulation. She apologized for doubting me. Seeing my mother's own words was devastating. They knew Ophelia targeted my moments, but rewarded her behavior. I sent copies of the letters to Ophelia with a note demanding an explanation. She called, furious, claiming I violated her privacy. She admitted exaggerating symptoms, but insisted her mental health issues were real. When I pressed about her wedding plan, she said she didn't follow through since she wasn't invited, so I should be grateful. Ophelia claimed our parents favored me for my achievements, and her episodes were a way to gain attention she felt entitled to. I told her faking crises to steal my moments wasn't justifiable. She accused me of prioritizing parties over her well-being and cut contact, claiming I was ruining the family. I haven't spoken to my parents since. I suspect Ophelia told them about the letters. Part of me wants to confront them, but Leander suggests letting it go to focus on our new life. The letters confirm I was right to exclude them. Ophelia planned to disrupt my wedding, and my parents were complicit. I'm considering sharing the letters with relatives who criticized me, but worry it might deepen the family divide. For now, I'm building a life in Denver with people who celebrate me without competition. It feels freeing. Final update: this is my last update on the wedding situation, as many have asked for closure. 3 months ago, Ophelia showed up unannounced at our Denver home with 2 suitcases, claiming our parents kicked her out after a fight about her getting a job. She said they wanted her to be more independent and that she had nowhere else to go. I didn't let her in, asking why she thought I'd help after everything. She cried, insisting family should support each other and that she'd reflected on her inappropriate behavior, offering to rebuild our relationship if I gave her a chance. I asked about her planned wedding panic attack. She admitted suggesting it, but claimed she wouldn't have followed through. When pressed about other fabricated incidents, she grew defensive, admitting to exaggerating symptoms for attention, but insisting her mental health issues were real. She demanded I acknowledge my role in abandoning the family, claiming my distance hurt her mental health. I refused to reconcile, citing her pattern of sabotage and lack of accountability. Ophelia accused me of cruelty and jealousy over the attention she received, then refused to leave my porch, demanding to stay with us. I called the police, who informed her she couldn't stay without permission. She claimed I was heartless for leaving her homeless. The officers suggested social services for housing help, and she left, crying. 2 weeks later, my father called, saying Ophelia was in a motel and out of money, asking me to help because family takes care of each other. I asked if he knew about the letters. He called them private and said I was oversimplifying Ophelia's complex issues. He urged me to support her recovery, not blame her. I told him I was done with her manipulation and their enabling. He accused me of selfishness, saying my mother was heartbroken over losing both daughters and that I was tearing the family apart. That was 7 months ago, no contact since. Leander and I have settled in Denver, making friends through work, a hiking group, and volunteering at an animal rescue. I was promoted to accounting manager, celebrated by Leander's family with dinner, flowers, and a note. No crises, no interruptions. I don't regret excluding my family from the wedding. The letters proved they enabled Ophelia's sabotage. Some may think I should have given them more chances, but I can't force accountability. My life is peaceful now, free from drama. Leander and I plan to start a family, committed to creating a home where everyone is valued equally. I wonder what might have been if my parents had addressed Ophelia's behavior earlier, but I won't let their dysfunction define my future. To anyone facing similar family patterns, your achievements matter, and you're not obligated to sacrifice your happiness for others' emotions. Sometimes, the healthiest choice is to build new traditions with those who genuinely support you. That's what I've done, and I've never been happier. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories, get more experiences.